So that was strange. I'm just glad I wasn't live for a whole hour before I realized that my laptop froze. Like, not only did the window froze, the whole laptop froze. So we're back? Question mark. We're here? Question mark. We're gonna do the thing that I was talking about doing before? Question mark. Where it's Black History Month here in the States. Pisces season is in less than 12 hours, in roughly 12 or so hours, according to Time Nomad. I'm going to pull two of these. I guess. Uh, yeah. I'll pull two of these. One for the. Oh, moon. Well, okay. Because I want to get on most of the cards, there are two figures. There is a figure from. There's the man, and then the other. And with the person, it doesn't have to be a man, a person, human. Um, we'll do some light Googling to see a little bit more information about him. So is that three cards? One for the person, one for the other, and then one for the energy? Sure, why not? We'll just get right into it. If I pull a supplemental deck, it'll be based off of what comes out because I don't know what I'd use off the top of my dome. So yeah, I feel like I was in the middle of saying like Gong Shi Fa Tai or Gong Hei Fa Choi, Lunar New Year, Happy Lunar New Year, the Year of the Horse. The end of Aquarius season is nigh, and the beginning. Oh yeah, that solar eclipse happened today. Anyway, let's see. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get three of these. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna split this, and then split this, and then split this, but take these. Interesting. Title card. This is what I was gonna take. So that kind of ruins everything. It's fine. Still the top three, I guess. Oh, well, would you look at that? This ruined everything. It really did. I mean, I guess I can still read the person and still do the thing, but so this was the card for the other. This was a card for the man, but there's only one person on it. The person, and it's the King of Swords. And then the card to be the thing, like the energy or whatever. It's this Four of Wands. And we can actually see the person here, but this isn't actually what's interesting about this is oh, okay. Do I get a fourth card? Hmm. I think I left the book inside the box. Yep, I do. All right, just to make sure I'm not frozen. The King of Swords and the Four of Wands. Who is this the King of? Swords. Nice. The King of Swords is a protector god of mankind. Asa? Rationality and logic, love of the law, care for the weaker, intellectual realization of the self, cautious, objective person. Protector god of mankind. Interesting. And then the Four of Wands. is the healing protector of the Ashantis. Robert Smalls, born in Beaufort, South Carolina, 1839 to 1915. I feel like I'm watching an anime. I feel like Beaufort just came up, but I don't remember. I feel like Beaufort was the name of a village. Was it that anime? I don't know. Robert Smalls, time for a little like Googling, even though this isn't where it was supposed to be. Whoa. Well, let's see. Let's see. 1839. Whoa. Yeah, we got a politician. According to the Wikipedia, Robert Smalls was an American Republican politician who was born into slavery in Beaufort, South Carolina. During the American Civil War, the still enslaved Smalls commandeered a Confederate transport ship in Charleston Harbor and sailed it from the Confederate controlled waters of the harbor to the U.S. blockade that surrounded it. He then piloted the ship to the Union controlled enclave in Beaufort, Port Royal or Port Royal Hilton Head area, where it became a Union warship. In the process, he freed himself, his crew, and their families. His example and persuasion helped convince President Abraham Lincoln to accept African American soldiers into the Union Army. Whoa. Hey, look, there's that Abraham Lincoln energy again. Born March 18th, was a Pisces. What? Who's let me stop. Hold up. No, 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 no. Take it back. Take it back. I'll take it back. April 5th. He's an Aries. Wow, he passed February 23rd, 1915. His first like he went into office March 18th, 1884. So you member of the House of Representatives. It's so there's this but okay. Thoughts. Thoughts, please. Interesting. Commandeered a transport ship that became a warship for the Union. His example and persuasion helped convince President Abraham Lincoln to accept African American soldiers into the Union Army. So, with historical context, to give people the opportunity to fight for their own freedom. By interesting. Oh, look, I guess that's him in Congress. We're going with the more standard setup today, where this is over here and the cards are right here, because we are. So, the Four of Wands is a card of a major minor milestone. Well, excuse me. It's the card of a major milestone. It's a card of like, weddings and stuff like that, right? So a wedding, a marriage is a major milestone, but it also signifies the beginning of something else. It can also symbolize something that we come to recognize as a societal, I don't want to use the word milestone again, a societal expectation, right? People just like expect to be married or get married. And people are expected, some are expected to be married or get married. This combination, because this King of Swords sits on his throne, almost seated in some kind of anticipation. Like it feels like the King of Swords will rise if he needs to, but he's almost giving an opportunity for things to be sort of like settled or worked out. Again, with the energy. Is that, what's that? Is Kirsty's last name Smalls? Um, or just Small? Hold up. Because I feel like her last name came up. Kirsty Sarah. Christy. Why is this not working? Um, Christie's. What's that her last name? Christy Small. Maybe. Maybe. I think so. Because there was that article, and I feel like I was using this deck, and I was like, her name came up. Anyway. Giving people the ability to fight for their own freedom. Or people be, it's more than like giving the ability. It's like, because there was an amount of persuasion that was involved, right? So it's almost like with this combination, and I guess the whole point was that to not necessarily get too much into the man because it didn't come out there, but should we just, let's get a, I'm gonna give this two of those a cut and then three of those to see if a fourth card, there's the cut, clean flip or clean fall, there's a clean flip. Okay, that's too much. 15, the devil, and I think it's a Nancy. Something else flipped over. I think it was like two cards. Where'd it go? Oh, come on. Oh, it's right here at the top. It was two cards. The Four of Swords and the Five of Pentacles. It's this thing again. I saw this maybe at the cut or something. I was like, whoa. See, but what's interesting about this Four of Swords is if we look at the King of Swords, the colors of his garb are similar. His headdress is similar, and his cloak or cape is in the Four of Swords is the rug in the King of Swords. See here, and I was looking at that tail, the blood tip sword. It feels like I'm gonna have to read what that thing is. Um, so excuse me. With this trio of cards, with the title card, the God Protector of Mankind, and the Four of Wands, flavored by Robert Smalls. It's like the reason it's something that it would be better to be actively involved in the creation. This kind of came out, but it came out in terms, it was like a punishment that wasn't a punishment. Also, I remembered the context for which the energy uh, in the last live, I remembered maybe yesterday, maybe earlier today. I don't remember. I think it was earlier today. I was like, oh, that was. I was like, I knew that energy felt. There was like a hint of an aroma of an energy that came through before, and I remembered. Um, with the whole spheres of influence and priorities and what we hold as the truth, yeah, and all of that, and the subsequent like possibilities and or potentialities that we become aware of. um this energy, it came out not as a punishment. I don't even remember the video. I remember the vibe of the energy, but I don't remember the video that one came out in either. um and I don't remember if it was one of the ones. I don't think it was the fortune cookie one, but it feels like it was one of the videos where it doesn't matter anyway. It was an energy that was like let's say that someone is on a certain path or whatever, and like they get their dream house, right? Already built, you get to move right in for little to no cost, whatever. But the punishment was that like the house isn't pre-built. You have to like help build it. And there was like, now I'm like, did I use the Mausolea Oracle of Souls? I don't remember. I'm like trying to remember. Um, and it's like, although the punishment, and I feel like punishment is extreme, it was just like a different kind of alignment. If you align in one way, it's already built and you move right in. If you align another way, you have to actively participate in its manufacturing or whatever. But it's like there are also things to be gained by doing that, by like being actively involved in its creation. So like let's say again, rather than you just finding something that fits everything, you sit down, like you have the resources, all the resources you need, you have all the contacts you need, resources being manpower, professionals, and materials. You got all that. But it's like you have to sit down with an interior designer or a landscape architect and a carpenter, construction crew to tell them the features that you want in the house. And it's like, again, there are things to be gained. It's almost that kind of energy. Like whatever this Four of Wands represents, it's something that has to be participated in. But more than that, it's something that someone has been deemed capable of participating in. I didn't want to say worthy because worthy made it weird. Because it's like if the King of Swords has to step in again, the King of Swords will. But it's one of those things that it's like it's better for you to handle it than to get someone else involved type energy. And with these three clarifying cards, especially with these two that clarify this one, with this devil energy, but it's an Ansi, so it's a trickster, more so than like straight up devil energy. But this trickster energy, and with this, it's almost the case of like if we don't actively participate or if we don't handle something ourselves, then we could very much so end up in the same situation. Right. Or we can hold an expectation for the King of Swords to always get involved or the King of Swords to always sort something out. And again, while the King of Swords can do that, it just opens the door to further repeating the cycle. Now, with the, it is a major milestone. Um, with the major, minor, minor, major milestone that also serves as a transition point because you go from living a single life to living a married life, a life for oneself versus a life with another in mind or with consideration for another at hopefully the very least. And like consideration, right? At the least, maybe. I'm not married. What do I know? But it's something that symbolizes and lays the groundwork and foundation for something that comes much later. And marriage, it's like a legal process. And because it's a legal process, there are also things that are easier to do or certain things that come with it, right? It's more than just a piece of paper legally. And there are a lot of situations where it would be preferable or easier for two people to be married than trying to tell some um, official or authority figure, like trying to explain a relationship, right? There are so many situations and scenarios where that piece of paper makes it easier because it's legally recognized. Anyway, see, I almost. And it's funny because so I'm watching this anime and one of the main characters is named Asa and her mom named her Asa. You get to like in the last episode because it's still airing. You find out why she named her daughter Asa, and you find out sort of how she struggled. And it's funny because marriage came up in that too. How she strove to have the conventional, normal, expected experience, but how she didn't really fit into it, but she forced herself to. And yeah, so she was very hard on herself, which made her also hard on other people. And her hope for her then unborn daughter was that, like, all this stuff. Marriage was the one thing that was denied her, though, because her partner didn't really, like, he was like, oh, why would we get married? Like, what for? And yeah, anyway. Anyway. Care for the weaker intellectual realization of the self. Who am I looking for? Oh, yeah. 15 is. We'll just read these. Why not? Obscurity and deception, Anansi, the mocker, West Africa. In light, its charm, seduction, magnetism, sexuality experienced freely. Passionate spirit and shadow, its lust, temptation, greed, lack of scruples, abuse, evil, and self destructive will. And then we have love of the law, rationality, and logic. And that King of Swords, right? And then it's the Four of Swords and the Five of Pentacles. I'm more so interested in that Five of Pentacles. Four of Swords is a Congo abandons mankind. The creator god who abandons his creatures. Well, and then Norbert, New Orleans, ooh, and France. I was like, that's French. Rilliou, really, Rillux. Rilliou, I don't know. The creator god who abandons his creatures. Oh, and then we see this creature. The five? Yeah, Five of Pentacles. The Five of Pentacles. It's a demon man eater of the desert and Sojourner Truth. Oh. It's interesting. This combination is interesting because the Five of Pentacles is with its traditional imagery. It's not being able to find refuge in a place where we should find food, safety, and shelter. They're in the middle of a snowstorm, they're battered and bruised, and they're right outside of a church. The church should welcome them, right? But they're outside. It's interesting that that's partnered with the creator god that abandoned their creations. And it's this man eating demon thing, or demon man eating thing. Yeah, same. Oh, it's the Four Swords. I'm like, there's actually four blades, two at each side, or one at each side and two on the back. I'm gonna run out of water. I've been drinking these blackberry Dr. Peppers, and they're so good. They taste so good. I should have some alcohol in here. Actually, I think I drink it all. It's for the best. Um, so this, the neatest thread, not necessarily the lowest hanging fruit, but the neatest thread here is because again, there's this energy of something where we participate in our own liberation, where we're being recognized as being capable of participating in our own liberation. for one, this God protector of mankind, but also creator God that abandoned mankind, and then this man eating demon. The cleanest thread is it's like this creator God abandoned mankind because whatever this man eating demon is, this is like one of those sci-fi horrors where scientists are splicing together all kinds of stuff and they create some kind of monstrosity, right? The scientists play God and then they create something that they can't handle. But again, it's like it's better. This is just any like low hanging fruit. Any case scenario or situation where someone gets themselves in trouble, regardless of oversight and advice given or not. And it's better for them to get themselves out of it rather than depending on someone else. I think the trick here with the trickster is to recognize what it's like to recognize the origins of this sort of creature, right? Because it's something that almost feels like it could be interpreted as some kind of divine punishment or something like that. But or it's like it's something that can be seen as more than what it is, which leads to an entitlement for some kind of, I don't want to say an entitlement for some kind of salvation, an entitlement to some kind of salvation. But again, like we have free will. And for our free will to really be, for our will to really be free and for our choices to matter, there has to be consequence, right? If you go to work and you get paid and you don't go to work and you still get paid the same amount, it doesn't matter if you go to work or not. Your choice doesn't matter. Either way, you're going to get paid, or either way, you're not going to get paid. Right. And so, and if it almost feels very like anywhere in the Bible where you see like the devil, like when it came to Job, the devil making a bet, question mark, with God and or Jesus. It's again, it's like it's better for us to get ourselves out of a situation of our own creation. And complacency and being complicit are can be sometimes a form of consent. And if we consent to another, then it makes it more difficult for our voice to be heard when we're the ones that are personally affected. Because especially like at a divine court of law, right? Like karma and justice don't rule differently just because we're involved or our involvement or non-involvement with something. Anyway, cool. I feel like that's not necessarily Three of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. Have we seen this one before? Well, I know we've seen a lot of Hunter. We've seen a lot of bows. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to the Orisha Tarot. Is it here? I need to move these bags. I just have them like here. I accumulate so many so quickly. It'll be time to take another batch. Take another batch to the grocery store where they can be recycled. Okay, Quantum Tarot. Hey, there's the Mausoleum Oracle of Souls. Pretty sure it was in the Justice. Is Justice? Oh, look. It's at the top of the deck. It is 8 in this deck. When I was doing the, what was it, 7, 11, 8, I was going to use a deck where Justice is 8 and one where Justice is 11. And I wanted to, like, just know rather than, like, open a deck and see. And I was like, I think in the Orisha Tarot, it was that way. I know I have another deck that is this way, but I don't know if I have it or if it's in storage. The machete is for Ogun. Ooh, girl. Ogun is the violent. Ogun is the violent righteousness of instant justice that is swift and without temperance. If you are wrong, the axe will fall before you can even give an explanation. There are 3 Orisha of justice. And the specifically mentioned in the Orisha Tarot Justice card. Okosi or Ochosi, Shango, and Ogun. The machete belongs to Ogun. Violent righteousness and instant justice. That is this, and I'm not surprised. It's almost like that's why it's better for this King of Swords energy to not have to get involved. And especially like with this trickstery type energy here, it's again because when it comes to justice or things of justice, we don't always recognize our own transgressions. And it's nearly impossible to be alive and not transgress against someone in some way, right? Especially when we're born as children. Into whatever circumstance or situation with whatever information we have, right? Because who's to know? Like, who knows better until they know better? Some things we do, some things we don't. And the thing about violent righteousness and justice that is so swift that it doesn't even wait for an explanation, it's that sometimes it doesn't give an opportunity to be better, or there's no sense of measure. Because again, it's violent righteousness. It's that point. It's to that point where it's like, it's very much almost the energy of like uh may he who was without sin cast the first stone, or those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, or something like that. But it's also because of how we grow, mature, and evolve in handling things ourselves rather than, whatever. Samikiel, Angel of Vengeance, and it's not Kushala. Is it Kushiel? Angel of, I see it in my brain. Cushiel, angel of not punishment. I just use these the other day. And it's like, if we need for monsters of our own making to be handled by powers greater than us, it's like it only opens the door for more monsters to be born or created. Cushiel. Cushiel, angel of punishment. Did I say punishment? I don't remember if I did or not. The hunter whose prey is falsehood, oathbreakers beware, Cushiel will seek you out. Even as you stalk your own victims, punishment is upon you. No one who escapes the mark of, no one, wait, what? No one who escapes the mark of Cushiel. Is it supposed to be no one escapes the mark of Cushiel? There are consequences for breaking your word. The pieces sharpen and sink into your flesh, embedding themselves within your heart. So long as the offense stands, you will always be held in the sights of the hunter. Seeking absolution is noble, however tedious. Begin that journey with haste, lest Cushiel find you first. Signs are a spear, a shaft of light, and a raven. But there is an almost hunter type energy. I mean, if an archer has their bow drawn like this, it's probably found its mark. And with the telescope at the top, that's like telescopic vision. So, you know what I mean? I'm like, what's in Sagittarius? I'll show you Cushiel. I'm going off of the image because I see Cushiel in my mind's eye. Where's Cushiel? Here it is. In between Aziraphale, Angel of no, Hod, Left Leg Submission, and Zachriel, Angel of Memory, is Cushiel. What? There's a card in reverse. Malkuth. Am I gonna get one of these? That's interesting. I'll have to ask. I'll have to ask my number one fan if, like, I know that forgiveness is a thing, and the divine is and can be magnanimous of spirit and heart, question mark. But I mean, I would assume no. A question of, like, if we have to be saved from our own, like, is there some kind of divine obligation? Is the divine obligated to do anything? I don't know. But is there an obligation to save us from ourselves or to free us from our own consequence? Again, because of free will, I would assume no. But with the connotation of this Five of Pentacles, it almost reminds me of when people say, like, good will always win out over evil, or love will always conquer hate or hatred. And it's like, if within historical context, there are some wrongs that have been wrong for a very long time. And it's not that eventually things won't shift or happen, but also at the same time, we're beings that have free will. So at some point, our participation is going to be required for some things, right? Otherwise, left leg submission, hide with Malkut at the bottom. Pod was one of the paths that we could have taken yesterday. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe our Jiminy Crickets, our consciences, the part of ourselves that, help us differentiate right from wrong internally. And you can argue it, you can deny it, but if you have, and I would assume at least some people do, that inner, like, angel on your shoulder type energy, it almost takes me back, like, where it's better to, like, stop. I remember mentioning watching Kurukshetra. I don't remember exactly what came out, but it's almost that energy where sometimes we may think that, like, we've gone so far, we've done so much that we can't go back, or that our only course of action is to continue to make things worse. Now, in that case, to actively and consciously refuse counsel is could be to make what isn't even obligated or guaranteed less and less and less of a possibility. Because with the submission, I'm focusing on that. You see above Hod's head that, like, almost pearl like thing, but it's very, like, blends into the background almost. The crown of Phanuel was the source of the light that lit that torch on fire, right? It's like very plain to see, easy to see, very luminous here, but like shrouded, submitting to that truth. Or it could be in a class of truths that we only see or find when we are in a place of submission. Right. That almost makes me, I mean, I guess I could. I was gonna go for the smoky mirror for a different reason. I almost want to go for the maybe I'll do both. Why not? Take it as it resonates. When it resonates, if it don't resonate, don't take it. Um, the Dreams of Gaia Tarot Smoky Mirror and the Magical Dimensions Oracle Cards and Activators Breakthrough. Okay. Cool. That is shuffled and ready to go. Hold up. Hold up. Why do I have so many cards? How many final cards were there? If there's like more than one final card, I'm like, wait, which one is the bottom? Which one is the top? Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I mean, I guess I feel like that came to my mind. Maybe because I saw somebody reference the footprints in the sand thing. And the mystical shaman, I believe, in this deck sits in the place of the witness that lives within. Right. Because that is this kind of sort of like milestone energy. You could say it's the integration or marriage between the body of man and its heart. Right. That's this Four of Wands sort of wedding. And then there's, because if we joke the Four of Swords, Five of Pentacles, but very much so like that's not my problem. That's their problem over there. I'm over here. I'm gonna keep going up the stairs, minding my business while whatever's happening down there. But like that's also the trick of this trickster. That's how the illusion of separation gets us to deceive ourselves into a false empathy or a false open-heartedness. And it's false because if the heart were as open or aligned or online as it was, this attitude or this behavior wouldn't exist. You wouldn't see something happening somewhere else and be unaffected by it or distance yourself from it as if it's not your problem or it doesn't affect you. Because if there's anything that, we're learning, it's how widespread certain things are and how it affects everybody. And even if it doesn't affect us personally, it exemplifies what behaviors we allow to sort of happen. And what becomes our experience, right? The man-eating demons move from the desert to wherever this Four of Swords energy is going when the desert is devoid of life. When there are no more people to eat, they're going to go find more people. But by the time they hit the isolated and secluded fortress towns, there's not going to be enough people left to fight them because everyone else got ate. Type energy. It feels like there's also, yeah. It's another facet of that illusion. The moon and Earth. We're about to have a lunar eclipse. Excuse me. All right. One more and a cut. Right. Because when it comes to like violent righteousness and swift justice, even the bystander even the complacent is found guilty. And in some way, shape, form, or another, to some degree, you could say that we're all complacent, or a vast majority of us are, or enough of us are complacent that to have ended up at the point where we're at, that I don't know. Oh, wow. Okay. Mystical shaman at the bottom of the deck. Again, this marriage of the Four of Wands feels like it's that same, the heart. I mean, more collectively, the heart of mankind is alive or beating or beginning to move precious lifeblood through the body of humankind. And that's not something, because we have free will, that's not something that the divine can just do or force. Cool. So we're looking before and after the mystical shaman, the lower world and the upper world. See, this is at Luke's ex tenebris, light from darkness, and then fire is right there. Interesting bottom three. $38, 31, and 59. We'll set these aside. We're looking before and after. Oh, well, fire the okay. Fire the smoky mirror. And so the in the bottom six cards, we have the mystical shaman, the lower world, the upper world, fire, the smoky mirror, and the middle world. And then the earth keeper is on the other side of the middle world. Just kind of like earth and the earth keeper. Cool. The motive spirit behind kept earth. Who said the other times that try or test men's souls? Fire is 19 and middle world is 36. Over here we have the heart portal, the crown portal, and utopia. The heart, the crown, and utopia. What an interesting combination. When the crown portal is out of unity or out of balance, it can lead to separation. In balance, it's divinity and unity. Out of balance, it's separation. When the heart portal is in balance, it's receptivity and generosity. When out of balance, it's mistrusting. Utopia's peace, serenity, and paradise. Because, of course, it is. Why would it be any different? 28 and 43. Was there a 34? No. We're looking before and after breakthrough. It's breakthrough, right? Or is it challenges? I have the image in my mind. It is breakthrough. Leap of faith, freedom, new beginnings. It's in between illumination, expression, positivity, and joy and inspiration, and awakening, ancient knowledge, memories, and connection. Hey, 3 and 4. I know 34 is on the table, right? No. Between illumination and awakening is breakthrough because, and it's like the light of this illumination, is it coming from the heart? But there's also the candle there. And then there is breakthrough. And it comes from the heart. Just and then there's the Ice Queen. The Ice Queen is one of my favorite cards in this deck. Higher Perspective, the Cosmos Awakening and Unity was under Awakening. Interesting. Awakening. Also, Unity was the Crown Portal. It's like this is, you could say, like this is Earth. Like this higher perspective of Earth and the Earth Keeper. Fire and illumination. What a combination. Fire and illumination. Because what does fire do? But that's internal fire. That brings to mind the phrase, is it zeal without knowledge is like fire without light? The middle world and awakening. It's awakening in the middle world. Because that's where it happens. It's already woke in the upper world, and it's never going to wake up in the lower world. That was a quote, right? Zeal without knowledge is like fire without light. Zeal without knowledge is how trickstery devil type energy uses violent righteousness and swift justice as a weapon against the virtuous. Because again, we're all human, we're all learning, growing. We all develop in the environments that we develop in. And if that environment gives us a tendency towards a certain way of thinking or to certain beliefs, then we have no control over our environment that we're born in, especially. But we have control of our actions. And so, as much as there's always something or someone else to blame, at the same time, there's not. Especially um, Proverbs 19:2. It is dangerous to have zeal without knowledge, and the one who acts hastily makes poor choices. Again, but that's not zeal without knowledge is fire without light. Was that Aristotle? Often attributed to Thomas Fuller. Zeal without knowledge is fire without light. And the light comes from the heart. We've already seen the heart portal. Utopia is 43, which is a mirror to the 3 and the 4 of breakthrough and awakening. It was the heart, the crown, and utopia. Which again, it would be better for us to solve. And utopia is interesting because of the Five of Wands. Sorry, because the Five of Pentacles. These three. Okay. Right. What has become desolate, arid, desert land because of this. It's not my problem. It's not my problem. It's not my problem. Can become utopia when the heart and the crown are both active and online. Hod was the crown. Where did Hod go? I already put the cards away. How did I put the cards away? Hello? Oh, because I was just showing Kushiel, I guess. Remember? But it's this like foggy crown. That's why we went looking for the smoky mirror and breakthrough. I love that fire came out next to the smoky mirror because I was gonna pull the deck because of Pearl. Because in the wild unknown alchemy, there's fog and then there's smoke. Where there's smoke, there's fire. It's the fire in the card of smoke. It's the gold in the card of smoke that makes it non-illusory. That gives it more of a like higher world third eye type energy of seeing beyond the ordinary mundane. Whereas fog is just a realm of some of them are illusions, some of them maybe whatever. And that's how it's been coming out for a hot minute, right? To break through the smoky mirror, there's illuminating fire and an awakening middle world. Interesting. Cool. We're already here, so I could, but I don't know if I will. Should I? I should. I should. I should. I shall. Yeah, why not? Why not? I already got 15 decks on the table. Why not add 5 more? When I saw the pearl, because a new pearl, I think there are more. I'm trying to think of the what unknown. I mean, there are some in the archetypes, but I think we see more pearls in the alchemy. Is there a number? Let's go for the average. Or should we add them? 4 and 47 is 51. 474. Hold up, is that the first 3 digits of a? I think it is. Okay. We'll just get a clean flip or clean fall. Although I don't know. No, I'm literally just said that was 2. I'm gonna cut. We're looking before and after number 51. 47 plus 4. Bottom of the deck is number 49. Floss Sapientum, the red and white rose. with number 45, the Great Serpent, and number 41, Sap of the Moon Plant. Interesting. Okay. Okay. And then Coagulatio. Okay. We have these two different flowers. And I guess they're like mirror reflections of one another. Because if you look at the text, interesting. And we did have the lower world and the upper world. You could say the mystical shaman is the one that in the middle world walks with both the upper and lower worlds. But with coagulatio, things coming together, it's like in the belly of the Ouroboros, these two things are coming together. So it's not, what did they say? Forged in the fires of combat. But kinda. She is kind of sort of given that bodhisattvic energy. Again, that Enochian, Elijah, bodhisattvic energy. They're so like, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. This is the belly of the Ouroboros. Because you see, like, the gold and the ruby and the emerald, like in the belly of the Ouroboros, you can see them like all sort of like also in here. The sap of the moon plant and the red and white rose. Again, there's something about that, like that mirror. I don't think I've ever noticed that. I don't know if they've ever come out side by side before. I'm pretty sure there's another rose in here. Anyway, interesting. Where did the Ouroboros go? And I guess last year was the year of the snake. So it would have been when these two were coagulating inside the belly. Now we're in the year of the fire horse, right? And the fire of illumination is here with breaking through the smoky mirror so that awakening can happen in the middle world. But we've already seen the caveat of this combination, thinking that these things can't climb stairs because they have eyes on their feet. Well, eyes on their feet, it's not stopping this thing from from going anywhere else. If it can walk around a desert with eyes on its feet, it can climb up some stairs. It scales dunes, and stairs is what we think. You know what I mean? But to be fair, dunes are still not gradiated, question mark. Oh, I'm looking for a number. I'm looking for a number. I'm looking for 51. That was 41. I'm looking for LI for Lee. I'm looking for Lee. Has anyone seen Lee? Lee-san. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, here's another one. The golden rose. Interesting, we didn't see the golden rose. We saw the red and white rose with the golden roses next to blood. We saw the red and white rose. Interesting. And separation is under blood. We'll put these here. Still looking for Lee. Still looking for Lee. Looking for Lee. Looking for Lee. Oh my gosh. I think Lee was the final card last time. I wasn't even paying attention. It's Massa Confusa, Chaos. Oh, and we have Mercury before and Sulfur after, which are two of the three Tria Prima, only missing salt of the body. We have the mind and the soul here. We have representations of the mind and the soul outside of this. And I was going to say it's interesting because oleum vitrioli is running out of space. We got this combination. Oh, Mercury is 3. Awakening is 3. Mercury is about to retrograde in Pisces. Saturn and Neptune. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to retrograde back into Pisces before they are firmly in Aries and moving forward. I don't know. But it's interesting that before the Mercury retrograde happens in Pisces, both Saturn and Neptune have cleared it and gone into Aries. On the other side is sublimation. It was in reverse, but I'm turning it up right. Sublimation and sulfur. See, this is so interesting. And then we have the chaos here. That is Lee 51, which is the addition of 47 and 4. I was going to do the average, but I was like, nah, just add them. Oh, goodness. So you could say, is this chaos happening in the body because we see the mind and the soul, or is this chaos happening between the mind and the soul? Which is interesting because I'm listening to that audiobook series. And I'm pretty sure in the book, he mentioned distinguishing between the mind and the soul when he was trying to explain auras. So the series is called He Who Fights with Monsters. Is this Nietzsche? It is Nietzsche. A quote by Nietzsche that is, whoever fights monsters should see to it that in the process he does not become a monster, which also kind of sort of plays into that. Not kind of sort of. Which, when we cross over into the zeal without knowledge, Sorry. When we cross over into the zeal without knowledge, where righteousness is violent and swift, before, and again, that was the thing, before any explanation can be given, the axe comes down. But the King of Swords was sitting. I guess another thing could be like within the context of this, because the King of Swords is seated and not involved, which means that logic may be taking a back seat, or it's possible that logic could take a back seat. Again, the zeal without knowledge. That's not what I was looking at, though. He who fights with monsters. I'm pretty sure it's book 3. Soul versus mind. Like he says something. Mm, it's fine. I feel like it's fine. We see it here. Oil of vitriol. Oh, ooh, ooh. This sublimation is kind of catching me a little bit. I know you can have, there are like a lot of sulfur gases. Because, like, when you go to like natural hot springs, can have, I want to say it's like, it's not sulfurous oxide, sulfate, so not sulfuric acid. Is it? Sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide is a colorless pungent gas formed from burning sulfur containing fossil fuels in industrial processes and naturally from volcanoes. A major air pollutant that dissolves in water to form sulfuric acid, a key component of acid rain. Cool. I mean, not cool. The point is like usually, well, sublimation is for something to go from a solid to a gas. I don't. I feel like this may be a little bit of a naturally occurring sulfur solids. Are there any? It's brimstone. Oh, goodness. Often called native sulfur or brimstone. Pale yellow, brittle, non metallic element found in volcanic regions, hot springs, and around sulfur springs, usually formed by the sublimation of volcanic gases or bacteria. It exists mainly as orthorhombic alpha sulfur, forming yellow crystals, crusts, or massive earthly deposits. Bacteria seem to be a part. Indonesia, the U.S. Gulf Coast, Sicily, and near volcanic mountains are where you can find some of them. Gypsum? Epsom salts. What? I'm like, is that the same Epsom salt that you put into the bathtub? Anyway, so yes, it does occur naturally near volcanoes and stuff. Volcanoes also giving the energy of that like violent righteousness, fire without light. Excuse me, zeal without knowledge. Maybe I should be looking at this oil of vitriol. There's something in this chaos. It's almost like there's some kind of chaos of the mind that taints the soul. Mm. Well, this is. You ever like pull cards and you're like, okay, well. So whenever I'm like, this isn't like groundbreaking or new or something, sometimes it's like almost in the vein of like, this is like quite literal. um, like it's not a new idea that, for example, someone who is tortured and tormented for their formative years or any time, any formative period of their life, and the mental turmoil that invokes or can invoke that would cause them to act, behave, or believe in certain ways, that it does kind of taint the soul, or at least it taints the vessel's ability to house it. Even if like the soul itself is unmarred, it's like it taints the vessel's ability to hold and subsequently express different parts of the soul. Oh, it's literally right here. Oil of vitriol is number 35. Sublimation is number 67. LX 60 BII 7. 29 is sulfur and 3 is mercury. Oil of vitriol, acidity, resentment, and purification. So we got acidity and then we have sulfuric acid. When the green lion appears, a great alchemical reckoning is afoot. Long-standing frustration and imbalance cause this regal creature to lash out unconsciously, consuming all in its path. Be prepared for emotional turmoil as the lion thrashes about. Don't worry, these changes are necessary for growth and in the end will be a relief to all. Purification is the lion's aim, and it's determined to get there one way or another. When this card appears, the question must be asked: am I the green lion or the sun? The one consuming or the one being consumed? Which is interesting because of the annular solar eclipse that we had today, which is like the sun being consumed. I mean, especially when it's a total solar eclipse. Anyway. It is said that finding oneself in the mouth of the lion is a necessary moment on any spiritual path. As the discomfort passes, the sun's beams shine all the brighter. See, again, that feels like it plays into the volcanic, violently righteous potential, where it can be blinded to certain things. Again, it's kind of that energy of like, who fights with monsters should be careful lest they become one. But it's like priorities. That's how it came out before. When it came out before, it was like much in the same way that it came out last time. But at that point, it was easier because the context of what's happening was not yet now then. Um, but it's like to always be mindful of what's important, right? So, for example, when it comes to maybe we can just use vengeance and punishment, Samikiel, angel of vengeance, and Kushiel, angel of punishment. Samikiel's blade cuts both ways, but the angel of punishment seeks out those who are deserving of that punishment, right? So it's much more, it's like when it comes to the domain or realm of the angel of punishment, it's like, uh, not casualties. I guess it's casualties in terms of like peripheral, like people who don't deserve whatever getting caught up in the whatever. Like the odds are a lot higher within the domain of vengeance and lower in the realm of punishment, because punishment will see to it that only those who deserve to be punished are punished, whereas vengeance is kind of all consuming within the realm of those who deserve to be punished. Vengeance will blind one to the 78 floors of innocence where there is one that is marked, right? Kushia will take the one, and vengeance will take everything. Type energy. Which almost leads, again, it perpetuates. Vengeance begets vengeance because of its unconscious nature. And there is no future in vengeance. Is there a future in punishment? In terms of like, there's like more of an emptiness to it, maybe. In terms of like what happens after. Not only is it less cautious, it's also emptier. It's like there are more righteous things to align oneself to that would accomplish everything that needs to be accomplished, everything that we want to be accomplished, and that still leaves room, makes room, creates room for not only more, but also eventually that utopia, the alignment between the heart and the crown, right? Rather than cycles just repeating and wheels turning and spinning. There's something like really weird here. And it's this like sublimation of sulfur and oily vitriolic mercury. It can be, it doesn't necessarily have to be. When it's like out of balance, it feels like sulfur is sublimating in the mind, which again plays into that whole he who fights monsters shall be careful lest he become one. It's like when someone like loses themselves and they lose, it's like when vengeance turns righteousness and justice into something barely recognizable. On one hand, but in balance, it's like the soul sublimating within the mind is, again, it's this like spheres of influence thing where, again, going back to the example from last time, if you prioritize well-being, well-being is so vast, it covers multiple arenas, not only safety and security, but also like satiation in terms of like if some is someone fed, sheltered, housed, mentally, emotionally well, and in a position to pursue whatever it is they want to pursue. Because that also plays a factor in, you could say spiritual well being, but mental, emotional well being at the very least. And the part of well being that is of safety and maintaining that safety, again, that will resolve whatever needs to be resolved to make those safe who need to be, right? So it's like within that sphere of influence, that's when you can get the sublimation of like ideas. It's like that's the birthplace of brilliance. It can be brimstone when out of alignment or brilliance when in alignment, when the soul just sublimates within the mind. Cool. All right, let's do final cards. This, so we've already had the red and white rose coming together with the sap of the moon plant in the belly of the Ouroboros, right? But here, there's what happens first? Question mark. Did I not pull the card? I don't think I did. I thought I did. Did I not? I guess I didn't. I really thought I did. Because separation was behind blood, right? So it's like first you have to separate the red from the white in the red and white rose. So first they get separated and then something comes together within the belly of the Ouroboros. This part I'm like, okay. But to complete the visual metaphor, I thought it bared mentioning. And maybe there's something about the Oh, it's right here. Separation. You got to separate the blood from the golden rose and that red and white rose, because separation was after. And then some part of those separated pieces combines with the sap of the moon plant within the belly of the Ouroboros to do something. And maybe if the Ouroboros is a catalyst or is catalytic in nature, the these ingredients will stay within the belly of the Ouroboros, oops, until they both separate and combine. That's the only time the Ouroboros will release its tail and let go of whatever is in here after they've separated and recombined. Cool. What does it mean? I don't know. I don't know. Take it as it resonates. If it resonates, when it resonates. And if it don't resonate, don't take it. Use that discernment. Oh, it's fine. The smoky mirror and fire. And then again, smoke and fog. Am I going to assemble all these and then get the final cards, or get the final cards as I assemble them? I'll read the red and white rose. Why not? What number was it? There was 459, or was it 49? I think it was 59. And then Sap of the Moon Plant was 41. Again, it feels like the chaos is apart. Righteousness and self-righteousness can be a tool that the trickster uses, just as it is a tool that the divine uses to guide people in one way. Right. Not fully why we have the phrase "the road to hell is paved with good intentions," but in a similar vein. Kinda. Kinda, sorta. Kinda, sorta, kinda, sorta. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. The journey. TM. Imagine. Y'all remember when the Fine Bros tried to trademark React? Imagine if there was someone who'd tried to trademark the journey or shadow worker or something. Ooh. Attachment and challenges. Interesting. I knew I was missing a few cards. The mystical shaman, the lower world, and the upper world, where it's the middle world. The mystical shaman, the upper and lower worlds. Do, 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 do. Na, 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 na. Oh, challenges. New rivals as you fight for survival. Blocks, fears and negativity, and betrayal. I'm not looking for final cards yet, but it did make itself known again. First, when we saw it with attachments, now it's. Oh, so the attachment isn't there, but the challenge is still there. And that makes sense. Because just because an attachment is gone, it doesn't necessarily mean that like the attachment part of what made a certain challenge so seemingly insurmountable or challenging was an attachment. An attachment, and now the Six of Pentacles is there. An attachment to the status quo, an attachment to limiting beliefs, an attachment to certain truths. But even when we free ourselves from those attachments, like the challenge is still there. Right. So let's say, for example, someone's like, oh, I'll never be able to drive. And their attachment to whatever keeps them from driving, keeps them from ever even like getting their permit or taking a class or whatever, from even thinking about getting behind the wheel. And once they rid themselves of that attachment, they still have to learn how to drive. You know what I mean? Just because the attachment is gone doesn't mean that the knowledge, information, expertise automatically sort of comes in. Was it really only four? Seems like I got so many. All right. Mystical Shaman Oracle cards. We're going to get the first one out of here first. Earth and the Smoky Mirror. All right. Claim flip or claim fall. Oh, okay. Is that the Gatherer? The Standstill. Oh, four cards. Stand Still, the Gatherer, the Ghost Dance, and Magic. 52, 21, 22, and 33. Stand Still, the Gatherer, Ghost Dance, and Magic. It feels like Stand Still and Magic are on the outside, with the Gather and the Ghost Dance being the inside. Again, the attachment, right? With the Gather and the Ghost Dance, it's like the Gatherer can only gather what has already been gathered in the past. There's no space for anything new because there are so many ghosts. So this magic is at a standstill. Bottom of the deck is the hummingbird. Trey, interesting. The hummingbird and the corn. There's that abundance. The hummingbird, the corn, and the curse. With the tree of life behind the curse. So even with that, the gather and the ghost dance being the thing that's keeping magic at a standstill, it's like if it's very those who don't learn from their past are doomed to repeat it type energy at the same time, right? Like sometimes it's not just enough to put the past away in a box if we don't learn our lesson. And that's the danger that we run into when the King of Swords has to get off of his throne to come and solve problems. It's like civilian. There we go. I'm trying to think of a word that's not peasant. It's like civilian level problems are things that civilians should handle. And king level problems are things that kings handle. Emperor level problems are things that emperors and empresses handle, and so on and so forth. Right? When we just put it in a box and pretend like it didn't happen or never happened, especially without making a real effort to understand, we run the risk of ending up in the same boat. What was it? The hummingbird, the corn, and the curse. Yeah. And that's why it was like the land is cursed. And so until something is made right, it will continue to be cursed. Type energy. Almost very until you do right by me type energy. Color purple. Celestial assistance. Celestial assistance and exiled. What a combination. Especially after the King of Swords is like civilian level problems are for civilians to handle. All right, final card from the Magical Dimensions Oracle cards and activators. The Throat Portal, number 40. Speak your truth, courage, and suppression when out of balance. Bottom of the deck is Manifestation, number 29. Prosperity, fortune, and pure intentions. Speak your truth and pure intentions is an interesting. Also, fortune favors the bold, fortune favors the brave. We have courage and fortune. Under manifestation is releasing, purification, spiritual cleansing, and letting go. That's the second time we see purification. We also saw it with sulfur, right? No. Was that the oil of vitriol? I didn't read sulfur. How do I keep losing this book? There's like literally two places it could be. Oil of vitriol was 35. Purification, yeah. It was in the oil of vitriol. Cool. This is almost like if we zoom in on Utopia, this is what we would see. Because I guess I'm going to go looking for Utopia real quick. From the distance, we see Utopia. Okay, is it Utopia or is it emotional freedom? Never mind. Well, I'll show you both. There's Utopia. Emotional freedom was the image that I had in my mind, but it's the zoomed out version of Utopia. Right. So here's about emotional freedom, where we see the castle in the distance with the waterfall. Here's Utopia, where we're zoomed in on at least the gates to that kingdom and the pool of water. We don't actually see the waterfall in Utopia. Also, we don't see the, what do you call that? Merkaba? at the top of the whatever with the distance of emotional freedom. Again, emotional freedom almost being like that Four of Wands energy where it's a milestone, a marker, a point that opens up something else beyond emotional freedom is utopia when you zoom into it. Also, that's giving hard left leg submission where the crown was kind of like hazy. But if it's like if you zoom into that, you would see like this is the source of the water in manifestation. And it's even closer because there you can see like it's like in the clearing right before whatever. Or it could even be within the gates, but closer to the actual castle. Right? It's like we're getting closer and closer and closer. And that speak your truth and suppression. I wonder if that also plays into the oil of vitriol purification, where on one side sublimating sulfur is brimstone, and on the other it's brilliance. It's like it's suppression when it's in that brimstone. And it gives an energy that's like remember when I asked Gemini if like something could be candid but not authentic? And Google was like, yeah, girl, of course. Just because someone's being candid does not mean they're being authentic. And that kind of energy where we can like speak a truth in a way where we speak a truth that's not our truth. So we repress and suppress even further our own truth because from our lips, that untruth passes. So it has like uh, a more suppressive force, like to hear it and for it to vibrate in the eardrum is one thing, but to speak it so that it vibrates internally before it leaves and it still reaches the eardrum, it's like it suppresses it twofold at the very least. To speak a truth that is not our own. And to be convinced of a truth that is not our own has a similar effect, I would assume. Anyway. Ooh, the sap of the moon plant is at the cut with Jupiter. Jupiter is in. Jupiter isn't in Leo, is it? Where is Jupiter? I don't be paying attention to the planets really no more. Jupiter is in Cancer. Jupiter has been in Cancer for a minute. It's retrograde Cancer, 15 degrees. Excuse me. Let's check out the other water signs. Ascendant is in Scorpio, and Pallas, Moon, North Node, Venus, and Mercury are all in Pisces. So, Mercury, Jupiter retrograde is most closely trining Mercury right now. That's such an interesting image because there's the decaying mind question mark from in the brimstone, not brilliance. There's the decaying mind due to the sublimation of sulfur, Also, this it's the sublimation of solar is so interesting, especially with the cards that were on the table. It feels like it's like I don't know. Anyway, it's a very interesting mental image to like. Maybe if you were looking at the cards too, you'd see it. I'm not gonna say it. Take it as it resonates. If it resonates, if it don't resonate, don't take it. And let your intuition and discernment be your guide as always, always, always. Let your intuition and discernment be your guide. But anyway, it's like when in the energy of brimstone, sublimating sulfur is decaying the mind, but Jupiter with Mercury is the mind expanding because the mind is inherently limitless and in some ways always expanding. So it's this like mind that is expanding while simultaneously it's like decaying in parts. The uncreated and the sap of the moon plant. Maybe that's why you got to separate the blood from the golden rose to get something that has never been, or to get something that was uncreated, right? Oh, look, the uncreated and Ouroboros at the cut now. Life, even challenges, difficulties, and the most strenuous of circumstance can birth miracles. And just like hardship and difficulty can birth kindness and generosity from light, darkness. I don't think I've actually said that, but I've seen sort of threads of it. All right, final. Modern known alchemy. I want a clean flip or a clean fall. Ooh, made a lot of noise, but it went face down. So, oh, there was a smooth flip. A smooth flip. We have Sun Splendor and Summer. Love that energy. Summer and the Sun Splendor. Bottom of the deck is the Androgen. Rebus, number 62, which is très interesting because I don't know why we're French today. Because manifestation, there was an androgynous being that was where the water was falling from. There was like something sparkly and glowy on his hand, on their hand, the androgen. You see the sun and the moon. So it's almost like if you were to graft the bulb of the sap of the moon plant onto the stem of the golden rose, this is what you would get. Type energy. What do I know? Number 53 and 48. This is not 48, 18. This is 18. 53 and 18. Summer is the time of the sun and sun splendor. Interesting. Hmm. Look at as it resonates. Conjunction. This summer, we will be having The second set of eclipses, and for some reason, I want to say they'll be in Leo season. I think. I don't know. I think. I think they'll be in Leo season. I think this um, upcoming full moon Pisces lunar eclipse is going to be the only Pisces Virgo eclipse this year. August 12th is solar and lunar eclipses worldwide 2026. We have August 12th and August 27th. So August 12th is Leo season. August 27th, 28th is Virgo season. So we had one of each. Oh, both of the lunar eclipses happen on the Pisces Virgo axis, but the solar eclipses are happening on the Leo Aquarius axis. And it feels like there's something there. It feels like it's interesting that the sun is where the nodes are shifting into, and the moon is where the nodes are. And maybe you can interpret that as bleak as things may seem now, but a solar eclipse is when it goes dark in the daytime. So maybe not. Now, with that in mind, it's like what we do today will have ramifications on tomorrow. What we do today will ripple into tomorrow. And so we can make tomorrow brighter today. All right, final card from the African American Tarot. Oh, that was a dirty flip. Oh, that was the smoothest, cleanest flip ever. I didn't even see what flipped. It was so quick. It's the Five of Wands. We saw the Five of Wands yesterday. It was a structural five of Wands. Maybe that's the difference too. Bottom of the deck is the Four of Wands that we saw before with Robert Smalls. Now we have the Five of Wands and a chameleon. A chameleon, chameleon, chameleon. I feel like there's some kind of saying here that I don't know. Something to the effect of like beware of conflict disguised as cooperation, and cooperation just disguised as conflict. Conflict disguised as cooperation is when like someone acts like they have your best interest at heart, but they really don't. Conflict, yeah, that's conflict disguised as collaboration or cooperation. Cooperation disguised as conflict is an energy that's something like constructive criticism, right? Something that may challenge us in some way, but ultimately is for our better good, or like honesty from a friend, right? Like trusted, sacred honesty, where if we're not right, you know, our friend tells us so we can do better. And it's because of the chameleon. on the wands that it's given that like beware of conflict disguised as collaboration and collaboration disguised as conflict. Cool. The little booklet. Five of Wands. Where the wands? Where the wands? Here are the wands. They're the wands. Where the wands? Where the wands? Olokun and the Chameleon and Denmark Vesey. Ooh, born in Santo Domingo. 1767. Ooh, South Carolina again. Olokun and the Chameleon, Denmark Vesey. Let's look at Denmark Vesey first, and then we'll see what Olokun has to do with the Chameleon. Denmark Vesey. Denmark Vesey was a free black man and community leader in Charleston, South Carolina, who was accused and convicted of planning a major slave revolt in 1822. Although the alleged plot was discovered before it could be realized, its potential scale stoked the fears of the antebellum planter class that led to increased restrictions on both enslaved and free African Americans. Born in the West Indies, how did he get here? He was executed. Okay, girl. I mean, I guess I shouldn't have been surprised by that ending. Other names, Telemoc. That's an interesting, and this is the four. Well, the five to see the Five of Wands after the Five of Pentacles and Four of Swords. That's not my problem because he was a free man who was accused of planning a major slave revolt. He was already free. But even as a free man, he could still recognize. Again, it's, yeah. Interesting. With the Five of Wands. And again, it was that whole beware of conflict disguised as collaboration and collaboration disguised as conflict. Right. In that context, it could be one of those like, we ain't gotta get into it. But it brings Telemachus to mind. Telemoc. Who is Telemachus? Telemachus is the son of Odysseus and Penelope. A central figure in Homer's Odyssey, who grows from a hesitant youth into a hero by seeking his long lost father and helping him defeat the suitors plaguing his home in Ithaca. Guided by the goddess Athena, a huntress, he journeys to Pylos and Sparta to find news of Odysseus, and upon his return, he and his father kill the suitors together. Later traditions suggest he married the sorceress Circe after Odysseus's death. The Telemachy, the first four books of the Odyssey focus on his coming of age journey, where he seeks news of his father from Nestor and Menelaus. He reunites with Odysseus, who is disguised as a beggar, and together they slaughter the suitors who have overrun their palace. Not only do we see that, it gives like that Five of Pentacles image, calls the Five of Pentacles to mind. Cool. Olokun Chameleon. What? Not a J, Olokun. A profound tale about vanity, intelligence, and the limitation of power, where the chameleon represents the ultimate mirror of truth and adaptability. This is the AI overview. Is there another? Reflections on Troubled Waters. What? What? Hold up. And this is from Wikipedia, so, you know. In the Yoruba religion, Agamo, the chameleon, is a chameleon spirit that is the servant of Olorun, the supreme being who created the Yoruba pantheon of deities known as Orishas. Agamo carries messages between Olorun and the Orishas. So, in one myth, Agamo, the chameleon, helped his master Olorun win a competition against Olokun, the goddess of the sea. Olokun was skilled at weaving and dyeing cloth, which made her think that she was superior to all the other Orishas, including Olorun. She challenged Olorun to a cloth making contest to determine who was truly superior. Olorun told Agamo to ask Olokun to show them her best cloth, and if they were impressed, they would accept the challenge. Agamo, being a chameleon, was able to replicate the patterns of every piece of cloth that Olokun produced. Olokun thought if Olorun's messenger could so easily replicate her work, she would be no match for Olorun themselves and admitted defeat. Interesting. Because that almost brings to mind Arachne. Arachne and Athena. Wait, did I say Telemachus? No, I said the huntress. Artemis is the huntress, not Athena. Interesting. I misspoke. Sorry. Telemachus was guided by Athena. Athena is the one that had the competition with Arachne. And Athena was so, according to my current recollection of the myth, Athena was so upset that the human Arachne had bested her, or that the human Arachne performed as well as she did in the weaving competition, that she destroyed Arachne's work. Arachne poured everything into her work, and seeing it destroyed, she and then Athena, out of whatever goddesses feel, turned her into a spider. Right. But here, so I guess that's interesting to go from Athena and her weaving contest to Olorun and Agamo in that contest, where Olorun admits defeat, doesn't try to squash the messenger just because, anyway. Sorry. A messenger of the supreme being. Hold on, wait. Now I feel like I gotta look up Olodumare versus Olorun, as if Google and Wikipedia can tell me. Olodumare. Generally considered two names for the same supreme being, representing different facets of the divine rather than separate gods. Olodumare. This is the AI overview. The AI overview is fine. Are we going to Reddit? Mm, So, according to the AI overview, Olodumare signifies the supreme ultimate creator and owner of all existence, while Olorun emphasizes the divine ruler of the heavens and sky. So, as the creator, it's Olodumare, and as the ruler, it's Olorun, according to the AI overview. Which is it is interesting though, because that Olodumare energy, Enochian. I feel like the Olodumare energy is similar in terms of its transience. Question mark? Not is transience the word I want? Similar in terms of its transience when it comes to that Bodhisattvic, Elijah and Enochian energy, like things that transcendent. It's similar in terms of being like transcendent or its transcendence, but different re- everywhere else. The overlap, they're both so far beyond me that it's like, okay, girl, wait. But to see a messenger, see that, yeah. The reason why Olodumare came to mind was because of the title card that came out first. Because the first card was supposed to be the divine being or the other. The second card was supposed to be the person that each card is associated to, and the third card was supposed to be the message. But the card of the other, the divine being, was the title card. So who else would that be but the Supreme? And that's why I was like, maybe it's like a Lodumare. But then it was like for the God to be the man. I was like, girl, what? Because that was supposed to be the person. That's why Olodumare came to my mind earlier. And now the messenger of Olodumare, that supreme being, is here, represented here. Interesting. With the free man who, the man who was free himself, who tried to free others and died for it. Right? So that's what I got. I hope y'all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're having a great time. I hope you have a great year of the fire horse. Sometimes I think, I fear, question mark, after the whole age of Aquarius thing, that we put so much on certain transits. It's like sometimes I think or fear that we put so much on transits of tomorrow that we don't navigate our todays in a way to make them become reality, to make them be more than just some empty pipe dream almost. One day, the stars will align in such a way that everything will miraculously get better. Whereas when we have opportunities in the day to day to day to put things on that path, but sometimes there's a concern that we may forego today for some promise tomorrow. Which almost maybe I wonder if that plays into that solar eclipses are happening in on the Aquarius Leo axis, where the nodes are shifting into, and the lunar eclipses where Earth's shadow comes into the picture is where the nodes are now. Anyway. And again, so we saw celestial assistance was exiled, right? So in that same Olodumare to Asa or Asa, it could be like, I don't know if it's completely analogous, if that's the word I'm looking for, um, to like God telling the angels, like, it's time for humanity to sort some of this stuff out before there's any kind of interference or involvement. They need to sort it out and get it together, because it's almost one of those. Yeah. Anyway, how interesting that the final card was Agemo. Cool. All right. Well, I hope that everything. I hope, did I finish it? I hope you have an amazing whatever whenever you see this. I hope you have a fantastic year of the fire horse, Pisces season, rest of 2026 life. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path journey, what you find. And yeah, maybe we'll do this again. I mean, it doesn't hurt to learn a little Black history, right? To see prominent African American figures. So why not? I was a little like, okay, I have the idea to do this, but how is it actually going to work? Anyway, we'll see. All right, I'll catch y'all later. Bye.